beauty of the Rock Art Show is that it's constantly evolving. Every year we get more and more new things, and we sell out of some of the limited edition things. This year, I have a hand-signed, very rare hand-signed Bob Dylan painting that he did, a lithograph that was never released in America. Amazing to see. We have a photograph, a panoramic photograph of the Allman Brothers that was the earliest photo ever taken of the band. It was literally, the band was like 2 days old. They went in the studio, and it was undiscovered until just recently. Greg Allman found it and put it in his new book. And we actually have a special edition of that photograph at this show, and it's going to make its world debut. It hasn't been seen anywhere else, so it's an amazing piece. I also have a whole collection of very, very early Bruce Springsteen photographs that haven't been seen. Everything you can imagine. It's from, I always say, it's from the Rat Pack to the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I mean, we have everything in between. It's a visual representation of rock and roll artwork by John Lennon, Paul McCartney. I just personally got off tour with Ringo Starr. I toured with him selling his artwork on the road, and I brought a couple of Ringo's brand new pieces with me. So there's going to be some brand new hand-signed Ringo Starr artwork at this show. So there's really something for everyone. And the other thing is, it's a free exhibit, so everyone's invited, and if you choose, you can actually purchase one of these pieces. And I don't want people to think, well, it's way out of my price range. I have things that are starting at $5.
Think back to the day when we used to get excited about when a new album would come out just to see what the cover art was. You don't really have that anymore. I mean, there's just no talk about cover art for today's bands.
That is one of the long-lost art forms, is album cover artwork. And one of the things that we are also, glad you mentioned that, we're going to have a whole selection of album lithographs, fine art lithographs of album covers, classic album covers. So there's a chance to get those as well. But when you talk about rock and roll and artwork, when you think about it, a lot of these rockers came from art school. I mean, John Lennon went to art school. Jerry Garcia went to art school. It just kind of makes sense. A lot of these bands met in art college. So it makes sense that they're artistically, it's that right brain thing, and it's just not fair. They're so creative. They can write, they can sing, they can act, they can paint, you know. I don't think they can add, but they could do everything else. Well,
I noticed that James Fortune material is going to be there as well.
I'm thrilled that he's coming out there, because I don't know if you know his history, but he was a Navy combat photographer, and he did 6 months in Vietnam, and he kind of transitioned that into being a rock and roll photographer. So it's a different kind of combat, I guess. But James is very rare appearance. I mean, I've never had him at our shows before. He actually lives in Virginia, and he asked if he could be a part of the show. So we're really thrilled. And he's got some of the most amazing Led Zeppelin pieces you've ever seen. He's got Doors. He spent a day in the studio with the Doors recording Strange Days. Some iconic images. When you see his work, you go, oh, my God, that's his stuff? I mean, it's just amazing. And it's such a thrill that both James Fortune and Scotty C will both be here at this show.
You know, it's like, how do you even make that phone call and get in the studio with the Doors?
And I asked him that whole thing. He picked up the phone and he started calling record companies. You got to remember, this is the late '60s, whatever. And he's calling record companies saying, "Hey, I'm a photographer, in the Navy. Do you have anything for me to shoot?" And he literally cold called Elektra Records and said. And they said, we have this band at the studio called The Doors. Do you think you can go over and shoot a day with them? Literally, that was it.
Yeah, one of his photos that I find amazing is the one with Robert Plant during a show holding a white dove. And I'm wondering if Robert Plant maybe had like some birdseed in his hand. Was this pardon the pun, but was this a planted sort of photo, or is this true improv?
It's interesting because, no, it was totally random, and he knew they had shot enough Zeppelin shows that they were going to release these birds and stuff like that. So he was waiting for that moment, and it was like when the photo gods just kind of all aligned, and the bird, landed on it, and in one hand he's got a big bottle of booze, the other he's got this dove, and it's just an amazing shot. And Robert Plant has said in interviews that is his favorite photograph that was ever taken of him, and he owns several copies of it. So It's great, and we'll have that there in a bunch of different sizes, too. You can get a small version or a huge wall version of it, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, we won't mention anything about the particular shirt that Robert Plant is wearing. It's a bit on the feminine side.
Yeah, I think it belonged to someone else the night before, if you know what I mean.
We'll leave her name out of it.
Yeah.
Although there's someone out there saying, hey, that's my blouse.
Yeah, that's it. Yep, and it's captured for all eternity.
You know, they should send her a copy of the photo for free. They really should.
Yeah, I would love to track her down. Yeah, we should do that.
Well, on our website, we got all the details about the Rock Art Show.